Welcome back to another Toyota 3.4 swap. Today is a very rainy day, so we're going to be spending the time inside the garage here, and we're going to go ahead and get the head prepped up. We're still waiting for the last remaining parts, which are some of the most important parts from Parts Q. Parts Q, they provide OEM parts. That's where I get all my OEM parts. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not being sponsored, but I'll go ahead and put their website down in the video description. They have the best prices even with shipping for OEM parts. So right now we're still waiting for that order. It's coming in next week, and that has all the head gaskets, all the seals, everything that's needed to put these things back together, because right now we can't put the engine back together without any of those gaskets and seal. Early last week I got the heads ready. I'm just now opening it and getting it prepped. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the valves, the valve stems, the valves and all that stuff, and we're gonna put new valve seals. But I wanted to show you guys this new tool that I got. This tool here is the LISL Lizzo 36050. I was watching Timmy the Tool Man, and they were at 209 Yoda's, and the technician there was using this tool. So this tool here is to remove the valve and also install the valve. And I used it, I tried it the other day and it worked amazing. So there's two sizes. There's the big size. You're gonna go ahead and use the small size for at least the 3.4. I used to use the C-clamp. I used to have the C-clamp that goes on top of the valve and on the bottom of the valve, and that was a very, it's very hard to use because you have to set the head up and support it. So this is much more easier. So there's two pieces. This piece here is magnetic, and all you do is just put it on top of the valve and just hammer it. Use a mallet hammer and hammer it, and then it'll pop out. And then when it's time to install it, I'll go ahead and show you guys. This is the install piece that goes on top of it. Now, when you remove it, I recommend you have a little pick. This pick here, I'll show you that's before. And I recommend you guys have a little magnet tray. You'll put all your keepers in here. Before you remove it, get a box. I have a box down here that I stabbed it with hose. And we're gonna put these valves into each place so we don't mix them up, because the valves needs to go back to where they came out of. So right now we're starting with the exhaust side. So you just take this piece, put it right on top of it, and hammer it. A little bit harder. And this one came out, but I didn't hit it hard enough, so that's my fault. One of them came out. There it goes. So you see how the stopper's in there, and then your keeper is in there. You guys see the keeper? And you just take a little pick. Where's that pick that I had? You just take a little pick and just pick it out. The magnet is not super strong, but it's strong enough to hold these in there. And there it is. So now it's out. So now you have the keeper. And then you can put the keeper, you can mix match them. But for me, I like to keep these in place. The spring and the top and also the valve. I like to keep them, I like to put them back where they go, where they came out of. And then you just pull out the valve. So the reason why we're doing this is, you can see right here, the valve is super dirty. So we're gonna go ahead and inspect it. We're gonna clean this up by using a brass wire wheel. Clean all that up, and then once that's done, we'll go ahead and put a new valve stem seal. And I have a new tool for the valve stem seal that I'll show you guys that. So this is the top. This goes first. I always like to put the valve stem like that. For organizing the valve stem and putting them in place while you're doing other stuff, I just have a box right here. I took a screwdriver, poked some holes, and then I labeled the exhaust and the front, and I just put them in there like that. So you want to keep them in place. Don't just throw them in a box and then plan to use each one of them later. They have to go back where they came out from. I'll go ahead and show you guys one more time. We'll go ahead and remove the other one, and this time I'm gonna hit it a little bit stronger. Oh, didn't hit it strong enough. There it is. So this piece came out. This piece came out. And then the two keepers are inside of here. So really sweet tool. I'm surprised I didn't even know about this tool yet. and I've been using that C-clamp. That C-clamp tool is like the old school of doing it, and it's a very it's not hard in use, but it requires so much moving around and adjusting it, and this is just so much easier. So now you see the keeper. And another trick I want to show you guys, if you guys don't have this tool, and let's say you need to remove your valves, for emergency or something, you can just take a deep socket that will fit right on here, and you can just hit it with the deep socket. That's like for emergency. Let's say you're parting out a cylinder head and you don't care about it anymore. You can just, and you want it to remove the valves for some reason, you can just tape a deep socket and just hit it. It won't collect the keepers, but that's like the old school of doing it. So now this one's out, just like that. And lift up the head, and so like that. So all these are pretty carbon buildup. They're really nice, they're not burned up or anything, but just a lot of carbon buildup. See that one shot hit. It'd be nice if there was like something like a slider right here where it slide down and it pushes the keeper out. So that'd be a little nice, quick, cool design. But you just gotta have it pick and just pick it out. So I'm gonna take my time removing all of these valves out, cleaning it, and then putting the valve stem seal on. I'll show you guys how to do the valve stem seal here shortly, but during that time, let me go ahead and show you how to reinstall real quick. So to reinstall it, let's say that you have the new seal already. You just put the spring back in, the valve back in, and then you also, on the bottom of the valves, so when you press the valve's gonna wanna go down. So I have a little, this is just a little freeze plug. And what you take is you just take a freeze plug, and I like to put it like right around this area where it's gonna hold it. So if that freeze plug is gonna prevent the valve from going down. So to press this back in, you're gonna use this tool here. This tool is you see how this tool is? It's a really nice tool. So now this tool just goes on to like that. It's kind of magnetic too. You take your valve keeper, go ahead and preset them in there. You can go ahead and just set them around the valve. And once you do it, you'll know. And back then, this used to be super complicated in using the C-clamp. Because the C-clamp, you have to press it down, and while you're still putting pressure, you have to literally put those keeper in. So now that it's center, this little ballpoint pin right there, that's gonna go inside the valve keeper, and all you do is you just press it. You guys saw how easy that was? It's already in right now. And then from 209 Yoda, they did say, you want to just give it a little tap. So you're not supposed to do it this way, but I'm just gonna give you guys. Just give it a little nice tap, and look at that, it's already in there. See how fast that was? I didn't have to mess with the C-clamp, and then when you hold it, you have to throw in the keepers, make sure they line up. This was super, super easy. So this is a game changer, because back then, my last 3/4 swap, I took about maybe almost like 45 minutes just trying to do one head, putting all that valves back in, and I was getting super frustrated. That came out just like that. Super awesome. So while we're here, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to remove the valve stem seals. So before I bought this tool, which I should have known that they make tools for this, this is the APT tool 11-piece valve steel sim removal, made in China. I got this on Amazon. That's what it looks like right there. And then it comes with this little nice, it's like a plier. I didn't know they make this. So it's rounded, you can see that, and it just bites right into the valve stem seal. If you guys are doing head gasket, if you guys are doing your heads, you might as well replace these valve stem seals. If they go bad, oil is gonna start leaking through it and go down to your valve stem. So before I was using this tool, I had a bunch of these picks, and I would literally try to pick it out, and it was just so time consuming. I just tried this one, and it came out super easily. So this one is already removed. Let me show you how fast this was. So right inside of there, that's where the valve stem seals are located. You can see right there, that's the valve stem seal. You want to replace those. Those are cheap enough that, you know, it's definitely worth replacing when you're this far in. So you just take this little clamp, you just bite onto it and it pulls. So this clamp here has ridges. I'm not sure you guys can see it, but there's ridge right there. There's these grooves that grips it up. So you just go and grab it like that. It's so simple. I never knew they made this. If I knew they made it, I would have bought this a long time ago. Just give it a few shake. Look at that, come out just like that. Now keep in mind that the exhaust side and the intake side, they do use different kind of valve stems. They're not all the same. So let me show you the new ones real quick. So these are the valve stem seals that I got off of 209 Yodas. I think they're less than 10 bucks a piece, but you can tell they are different. They're not super big difference in size. I think they're almost about the same size, but the way to tell is that one is black and the other one here is kind of like a brown. Let me see if I can open one up so you guys can really see it. So the top is what makes the difference. So one is kind of, you can see here, one's kind of like brown, and the other one is black. So I believe, I forgot which one goes on which one, but I'll make a mental note of it. So these right here that I just pulled, they have a black, they're black. So I think the black one goes on the exhaust and then the brown one goes onto the intake size. If you have something that drops in there, it's just easy to have a magnet and just pulls it right up. Just like that. I went ahead and removed one of the intake valves, and we'll go ahead and remove these seals and check that out. So it just goes right in. Just give it a little nice back and forth motion. Just pops out just like that. So simple. So easy this time. Yeah, so the intake side, they're brown. This one is brown. It's just a little bit more burnt and off color. And then you can tell for sure the intake are black. So no, the exhausts are black. These guys, you'll go ahead and trash them because they're no longer any good. Let me go ahead and clean them up and show you guys how to install the new seals. I'll go ahead and do one or two for demonstration. Take a napkin or something and just clean the inside a little bit. We'll go ahead and install one of each so you guys can see it. So boom, so easy guys. This is a game changer, time saver. So inside this toolkit, you have the plier to remove the valve seals, and then you have another punch. This is what you use to install the new ones. And there's a thread on this side. This threads onto the various attachment like that. So this one is a 6 mil. So the 5 mil, so that's what it looks like. It goes into the valve seal, and then you kind of punch it in. So that screws onto it, you punch it in. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this one here. The thing that I'm worried about this one is it's gonna hit the spring, so I'm not sure how that's gonna work. So back then when I was doing this, I would take a socket, I would take a deep socket that's wide enough to hit that around the edge, and that's what I would use. So hopefully this will work. If that doesn't work, then we're gonna be out of seal soon. So that went in super easy. Yeah, much more better. So I think we're gonna go with this style here. So that's what you want to use. Same thing for the exhaust side. Looks like the exhaust, they use the same one as well. It's a bit bigger, so maybe you can go a little bit bigger on that one. With the exhaust side, you can go with the 5.5 mil, and this one fits nice and snug in there. So maybe we'll go ahead and do that real quick. So 5.5 mil. Just goes in. Sweet, there it is. Yep, it's nice in there. It's not damaged or anything, so that looks good. This is way more easier. You can hear the pitch of the noise change when you finally seat it in. It's more of a ring. Something that I forgot to mention is that when you take out your valve stem, at the bottom of the cylinder head, there's a small shim. There's a small metal shim like that. And you want to remove that out. You just take a magnet and remove it out. That shim, all the shims is supposedly the same size, even on the intake and exhaust side. So you can mix them up, but I'm just going to go ahead and put them with the valve that it came out from, just because I'm OCD like that. And if you don't do that, when you flip this head upside down, these shims will fall down, and you might start being like, oh my gosh, where did that came from? So just go ahead and remove them now, and then you can go ahead and clean the valve port, and then clean all that stuff out. So I have it all removed already. Sometimes they'll stick to the bottom of the head and they won't fall out. But then there's time when they're loose in there right now. So this one, see that? They're all loose. And the reason for that shim right here, the reason for this shim is that that's where the spring sits on this. And if you don't have this shim put back in, that spring will start eating into the aluminum head. So you want to make sure you put these back in. I'm pretty sure they also play a difference when you, as far as the thickness of it. Alright, so now we have everything removed. We can go ahead and flip this and nothing's gonna fall out. Some metal shavings came out loose, so I'm gonna have to spray this cylinder head and make sure there's no more metal shavings. I think they were stuck inside the coolant jackets over here. I'll go ahead and get my air compressor and get my air nozzle and start spraying these hoses and make sure there's no more shavings. But that's something else you want to make sure, even though it's professionally cleaned from the machine shop, you want to go ahead and just clean it one more time, make sure there's no shavings or anything like that. Right now I got everything cleaned up. I went ahead and installed all the exhaust valves already. Now we're doing the intake exhaust, or the intake valves. And like earlier when I showed you guys, we're using the tool. I have everything already set. Now we just got to put the keepers. I went ahead and put a freeze plug underneath the valve so they don't push back out towards the bottom of the heads. Oh, this one just fell in there. Sometimes that happens. Just take them out. Get your trusty magnet. You always have a magnet pin right here. This tool makes it really, really easy. I'm super impressed with this tool. I would definitely recommend this for anyone who does cylinder head. Even if you're gonna do it once or twice, it's definitely worth it. You don't need to use the hammer for this one, just use your hand to press it down. And when it locks into place, you can hear like a snap. So let me You can feel it, you can hear it snap. If you did it wrong, you just have to remove it and reset it. So it's super simple. 1 out of 10 you might get it wrong, but it's all good. It's easy to reset it. This is way better than a C-clamp, like I told you guys. Try to listen for that clamp, alright? Right there. The keeper, they go in one particular way only, so you can't really mess that up. Oh, this one we don't have the, this one, it didn't lock in place because I didn't put the freeze plug under it. You have to put the freeze plug under it to prevent the valve from pushing back down. I told you guys that already, so just push it back up. There it is. Next time when I'm parting out an engine, and if I don't need that head anymore, I need to start keeping these keepers, because these keepers are really small, and if you're removing them, if they pop out or they jump out, you're gonna lose it in your shop. So it's definitely good to have some spares, and I don't have any spares. So next time I'm gonna keep some of the keepers and probably some of these top hats right here. I believe the 3.0 and the 3.4 are all the same. I'm not too sure about the spring though, the valve spring though. But definitely something to keep in mind next time. After I'm done with this one, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the bag. Put it back in the original bag that it came in, and then we're gonna go ahead and move on to the other head, which is the driver's side head. If I was to use the C-clamp to do this old school style like how it was before, that probably would have taken me 30-40 minutes, because the hard part is trying to get these keeper back into place when you use that C-clamp. So I don't recommend the C-clamp at all. So once you have it in there, you're not quite done yet. You want to go ahead and tap it. So we're going to go ahead and you just want to hit the top of these and make sure that they're solid in there. So just take a brass punch and just make sure that the top, they're fully seated. Go ahead and just blow some air on it. This head is all finished and ready to go. This was the passenger head, so all the exhaust came out when I was unbolting the manifold. But no worries, we have new exhaust studs coming in. But for the most part, this is all good to go. I did went ahead and took the my air blower, and I did went ahead and blew air into the coolant jacket, and some of the shavings came off from when they did the head resurface. So make sure you do that. And then the head itself, we'll go ahead and clean this one more time right before we're gonna go ahead and install it. We'll get some acetone and wipe it down so it's not all oily and greasy. But this is all done, ready to go. So it takes about maybe an hour if you do your sweet time. I take about an hour because I take my sweet time doing this. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next head, which is pretty much the same process, but hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll show you guys the next video once we do the install and once all of our parts come in.